that is scheduled to take place any moment from now. And so we've invited those who are responsible to give out the information to our people so that we all can be set and also form part so that, at the end of the day, the evaluation will go, our way. And so we invited Mr. Sampon Blamo, C. He's the coordinator of Liberia One Health platform, and Mr. La Wertisi, I hope I got it right. He's a few epidemiologists and coordinator of National Action Plan for Health Security. I used to be in the health sector, so I know this word. Would that be a difficult one to pronounce? But Mr. C, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And also, Mr. C also?
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Welcome to the program also.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's begin on this note. Either of you can, set the ball rolling. First, give us an idea when we talk about a joint external evaluation. What is it all about? Out of you.
Well, again, let us say a very big thank you for the invite. We want to say thank you for welcoming us to your beautiful studio. And we want to say how proud we are to be here.
Okay.
So straight to the point. When we talk about the joint external evaluation, the joint external evaluation is about a comprehensive assessment of a country's readiness to prevent, to detect, and respond to public health emergencies in line with the international health regulations. Now, maybe the next questions you may be asking, what are those regulations? And so we say the regulations provide the global framework for managing the cross-border spread of diseases and other health risks, ensuring coordination of international response.
Okay. Now, I know that, and I'm sure my memory can serve me right, that similar joint evaluation was done before. Do you care to bring us up to speed and maybe some of the outcomes as well?
Yes. So this is our second evaluation we're about to go to next week.
Okay.
The first evaluation was held in 2016. And in 2016, people came from the World Health Organization, from WHO, Afro, and WHO Global. They came to assess the country's capacities and capabilities of the health system. We saw before 2016, we saw somewhere around 2014, 2015, we saw the Ebola situation, and it was a disastrous one, where even health workers were running away from the event, were running away from the diseases. But this time, because of that first joint external evaluation, the major outcome that came from there was the formation of the National Action Plan for Health Security, NAPS. And the NAPS put into play activities and events that will be able to ensure that the country is well equipped, well qualified, well versed in many of those areas in health. So because of that, these days, you saw in 2020, 2021, the COVID situation. When we were running away from the situation in 2014, this time in 2020, 2021, we were moving towards the diseases to be able to fight them, because this time we had trained professionals, people trained in the area of surveillance, people trained in the area of preparedness, people trained in a lot of areas to be contact tracing and do all of those things. So this is why these days our health system, it may not be best 100%, but now we have that system in place to be able to ensure that we fight the disease, we are able to protect, we are able to prevent, and we are able to respond to health emergencies.
Okay, so let me go to Mr. C. Blumbo. Your colleague spoke about the action plan, which came out of the previous evaluation then. Now, what did the action plan considered? What did they take into consideration? What was it that we needed to do as a country? Those necessities that we needed to do as a country, or maybe acquire as a country to build our capacity.
So what the action plan brought forth after the evaluation of 2016, to be specific, in September, that produced the results that he's talking about, 46% as a country. Look at the core areas, 19 technical areas that are being identified as areas that all countries globally in Africa as a whole need to have capacity in. So if you look at issue on national legislations and policy, finalizing our national response, issues on coordination, communication, and advocacy, issue on antimicrobial resistance, issue on zoonotic diseases that are having cross-border issue, issue on food security, biosecurity. So surveillance and laboratory capacity, national. So all of those areas were, about 19 areas were identified. Now, within those 19 areas, there were core interventions that were identified as well. So the core intervention had to ensure that our country had a mitigating capacity in terms of measuring ourselves against particular indicators on each of the core technical areas. So exactly that's what the country did. So 2016 gave us a score against each of the technical areas with the indicator laid out, and intervention that will allow us to move from another level to another level. So what is happening now is that the level are screening. If, for example, in a particular technical area, there's an indicator that says the country must have the capacity to be able to detect 10 of its priority diseases and test them in country. What that means is we must strengthen the laboratory. We must make sure the laboratory has reagents. We must ensure there are surveillance officers that can find those cases. Those indicators are linked to a particular technical area. So those are the issues that we identify and we talk to work against. Right now, as a country, yes, from the 2016 result, hopefully now the 2023 will give us what is it we've done in terms of progress. But beyond the period, or within the period of implementation of the National Action Plan that he spoke about, we've been doing what we call self-assessment. And the self-assessment rating show that we are making slightly progress. We're making some progress. For 2016, it's 46%. In 2019, we try to assess ourselves, not waiting for the international that we're doing now. We assess ourselves and have 49%. In 2021, we did the same. We have 52%. Now is the end of the implementation of the National Action Plan for Security. So you have to call the independent verifiers, which is the external team. That is exactly what we're trying to do now.
Now, why is it necessary? Let me come to you, Mr. Sia. Why is it necessary to involve external evaluators and not looking at it yourself and to say, okay, I think we've done extremely well? Why bring in second eye?
The thing is simple. We grade ourselves. We put up activities, we perform those activities, and we grade ourselves. Some of those grades we grade ourselves, we say, yeah, I think we are good in this area. Some of those grades we say, look, we are like fair in this area, and in other areas we say we are poor. But the thing about it is a self-assessment. We are grading ourselves. So if we grade ourselves and we put the scores forth, others out there may be thinking that, look, these guys were the ones who grade themselves. And so with the kind of grades they gave themselves, they might be biased. So it is based upon that. It becomes very necessary that with all of the gradings we give ourselves from the various self-assessments we've had, it is important that the internationals come in. And it's also a requirement for the international health regulations, because it states that a joint external evaluation must be done for a country every 4 to 5 years. So the first one was done in 2016. They came, they graded us. We ourselves, based upon those things we've been doing, we've been grading ourselves. And although 5 years have passed, and because we have COVID and other things, so now this is the time that all of those things we've done, all of those achievements we made, or those challenges that this is the time we are asking the external evaluators now to come and look at us. hey, gentlemen, you guys have graded yourself in this area. You are so good in this area. You are so fine in this area. But we see it this way. And based upon that, seeing it their own way and not our way, we give the scores that we will receive. We give it a more weight. And we give it a more weight from us and to that of the international community. Because all of the schools we've been sending out is a self-assessment score. Yes, people respect them, but not to the extent that when the JE is done and when the schools go out, they will have more weight as compared to the self-assessment. This is the necessity of that.
Okay. Now, so Blambo, where are the external evaluators coming from? Where are they flying from?
So a lot of them are coming from within the Africa region. The team of experts that are often within the WHO range. The experts come from different countries, highly qualified. They are the one specifically selected for that. It is their job because under the international health regulations, there's what we call the monitoring evaluation framework that has been developed. That monitoring evaluation framework is linked to indicators that also link to the technical areas we just talked about.
Okay.
The 19 technical areas. So those people that are the secretariat train these colleagues to be able to evaluate countries globally against these indicators. And what is happening is that because they are within the African region, they understand the context. You know, for example, if they were evaluating national laboratory systems, if you have that, they want to see the guidelines. Where are the guidelines for testing? What are the parameters in testing? Water quality. What are the range of water that determine to say, yeah, the water is of quality. So there are a lot of variables that they look at, and then they grade your country.
Okay.
So those indicators, they train them globally. They all come. 18 of them are coming from Afro anyway. Let me say they are coming from Afro.
Okay.
18 persons are coming from Afro that will be doing this external evaluation.
Now, do you have people also coming from the US or from the West, or you just dealing with your African brothers?
No, not necessarily, but they will also be joined by the nationals. You know, we have what we call the One Health Technical Working Groups. They are all people from lab, those that are doing laboratory services in the country. They joined as a technical working group laboratory. And then we have surveillance. We got antimicrobial technical work. We got 6 different technical working groups that work within the 19 technical areas.
Okay.
So each of the technical areas, we have co-workers, about 3 persons. Those people will be selected to work along with them. So for example, in surveillance, you have somebody for animal health, for human health, for environmental health, that will be working with the person for surveillance that is coming from Afro.
Okay.
The same with laboratory. You have 3 persons for human health, animal health, and environmental health that are laboratory technicians that will be working with the lab technician that is coming on the team. So we spread our national along with the international. International are bringing 2 persons in each area. We bring in 1 person to work along with them.
Okay.
But we have 3 in country that are working along with those colleagues that are coming.
And in addition to that, most of them are coming from Afro. But our understanding of the information we received from WHO is that there are 3 persons who are the WHO headquarters who have been doing this JE they have done over 15 JEs.
Okay.
And so the understanding is that one of them will be coming in country to serve as the chief evaluator, along with our Afro brothers also. So I'll just
Okay. Now, we are speaking to a vast population of the country. I know you talk about the 19 technical areas, Mr. Cien, and see it again. Do you care to tell us if we can exhaust all the 19 technical areas, but we can exhaust maybe add on maybe 10 of them, since that we have time? How much interventions, Mr. Cien, Blamo, have we made, in maybe 10 of those critical areas, that yes, indeed, if the evaluators come, we'll be saying yes, indeed, the evaluation will be in our interest and it will go our way. So let's try to educate our people now about some of the interventions we made.
So let me quickly speak to a few of them. Given that we have 19, let me look at national laboratory systems.
Okay.
It's a technical area. It's one of the technical area. In that area, what is required of the country, for example, there are three major indicators against that technical area. So the first indicator is saying a national vaccine access delivery system.
A national vaccine access delivery system.
Yeah.
What is that?
So if you have vaccines in country, there's vaccination taking place in country. What are the systems in place to ensure that vaccination is given to kids that need them?
Okay.
The other indicator in that area is talking about laboratory testing capacity. The lab in country must be able to test more than 10 of the priority diseases. Mind you, in Liberia, in human health, we have more than an average of 28 priority diseases. In animal health, we have like 12. So those priority diseases must be tested in the country. What that indicator is calling for is that do our lab have the capacity to test any of these indicators? I mean, these diseases that we identify. So those diseases we identify that we say we have the capacity, the thing that is coming will go to the lab and see the parameters our folks are using.
Okay.
They will go and ask for the guidelines and ask and see what are the case definition for the particular diseases. So all of those information must be readily available. Electronic and print copy must be available for the evaluators. They will also perhaps go to the lab. When there's access, go to the lab and perhaps want to be on the bench and see what is it you're really testing for. Test this water sample and tell me what is it. So there are a lot of things that are happening.
Do we have the capacity now?
Oh yes, right now, like I just said, for testing we do have the capacity in country. Mind you, during Ebola, before Ebola, or during the Ebola situation, we're testing less than 4 of our priority diseases in the country. All our samples are going to Freetown and other countries. Right now, we're testing more than 20 of the diseases.
Okay.
We're testing diseases in animal health. We're testing diseases in human health. We no more sending sample across. The only sample we send across are those samples that we're not testing yet, or we don't have the equipment or reagents. Or we are now doing what we call quality assurance, proficiency testing. So if we test and we feel this is the situation in the particular specimen, we have to send the specimen out to Atlanta, that we've been doing, and we see the occurrence, see the consistency in the results. So if the result is positive in our lab, is positive in Atlanta, then of course we know we are on par.
But why are we bereft, in another word, lack of the full capacity to test all what we're supposed to be testing? Why?
Lab is very expensive. The issue is about reagents.
As a country, we don't have the reagents.
We do have some of the reagents. We may not have all. We have reagents across the areas for what is available in country, but we may not have the equipment. The reagents expirations are very short, less than average of 6 months to a year. So often when we don't utilize and we're not finding cases, our reagent will get expired. So reagents that will bring in stock up.
So in line with international standard, Mr. Blambose, are we testing more of what our international partners, the evaluators, will expect us to test, or are we testing less of them?
So against the indicator, we are testing more.
Okay, we are testing more.
We're testing more. Now, what we'll be coming for is the quality of the test, the processes involved in the test,
Okay.
the guidelines you're using to test, the folks that you train for testing. So they'll be looking at all of those information. If you don't have them readily available, then of course you may have a degrading score.
Okay. So you just spoke about 2 technical areas. Let's go further.
So the next area you'll be looking at will be surveillance. Surveillance is a technical area. So in surveillance, there are about 3 indicators. One of that indicator is the surveillance system that is capable of detecting and responding in the country.
Okay.
So what that means is it shouldn't only be for human health, it should be for both human and animal environment. Right now, we have more than 136 persons as sub-national level and national level surveillance officer. At county level, we have surveillance officer for all of the counties, with the exception of Nimba, Mosso, rather have 2 persons each that at the county level. At the district level, in human health, we have all districts with surveillance officer.
One each.
One each.
Okay.
Provided motorcycles, provided logistics. All of those are provided. In Monserrate,
and are effective in paying them whatever their compensation.
Oh yes, we give them the resources needed. We give them what we call operational resources. In Monserrate, we have 22 zones. All of those zonal surveillance officers are given resources. So that's in human health. In animal health, we're doing SIM along with our partners, FAO and USAID resources. We provided resources for community animal health workers on our IRC. We also, under the World Bank, provided resources to animal health surveillance officers at county level. So there's a lot of massive support that strengthens our disease surveillance system. What we have a bit weakness is exactly in environmental health, and we're trying to strengthen that area.
Okay.
So we have folks in the field that are now doing what we call joint investigation, joint evaluation of events. You heard about the caterpillar.
Okay. So if there's any outbreak now, our surveillance officers will be able to pick it up.
Oh, surely. So we have the capacity, we now have the system. What is required is that sustainability. It's what we're trying to see how we can work on. So we have the folks in the field that are doing it. Those are folks soldiers that are providing the information.
Okay.
At the timely, because we have the range of not more than 72 hours. When a sample is detected, or case or event is detected, it must be investigated and the sample comes to the lab.
Okay.
So yes,
you do have problem with sustainability. Then we have to challenge.
So that's a challenge.
Okay.
Again, they're going to look, if we say we have this system, they're going to ask for our case definitions. Do we have those guidelines? Okay. Yes, we have the guidelines for community animal health workers, for community health workers, for at community level. The same at the facility, but also in animal health in the farms, in the abattoirs. We want to make sure all of the guidelines that we produce and train people, they will be readily available to the evaluators that are coming.
Okay.
So those systems are the ones that we're going to check.
Okay, so you've done with 3 now. Can you add up to, you can add to that because you said 19 technical areas.
So perhaps you will also look at human resource. There's a technical area.
Human resource. Thank you.
So one of the technical areas in human resources is to ensure that the country have the capacity to be able to identify with the qualified manpower, epidemiologists, nurses with the capacity, community animal health workers are trained across the tiers of things. So in human health, they must understand the diseases. In animal health, they must understand the diseases. There will be joint investigation, joint training. So that workforce should be there at the community level, at the subnational level, at the national level. So you train epidemiologists.
So as we speak, do we have them?
Yes, may not be to the peak we want to.
Okay.
So our score is downgraded a bit, but we have workforce in human health.
So we not pass now when election evaluators come.
No, we say
we're going to fail now in that one.
No, we have an
red mark.
Right now we have 3. The score is 3, and the highest is 5.
Okay.
So right now we are at 3. So what we're going to look at is 1: do we have a strategic plan, a workforce strategic plan for human health, for animal health, or do we have an integrated workforce strategic plan?
Okay.
So right now what we've done, we had a strategic plan in animal health. It just got expired. We have a strategic plan for animal health that we aspire in 2029. We are now doing an assessment of the overall across the environment.
Okay.
So that assessment will give a clear understanding of our workforce, the need and the gap, and then we'll begin to work on the capacity building or capacity development within each of the sector.
Okay. Continue.
So the score is more like going to be down
3.
So once it comes, be downgraded.
Okay, 3 or 5 or something. Okay.
So with respect to these scores, the scores range from 1 to 5. WHO says if your country has a score of 1, it means that your country has no capacity in that particular indicator of the technical area.
Okay.
If you have 2, it means you have some limited capacity. If you have 3, it means your capacity has been developed. If you have 4, it means you have demonstrated capacity. And if you have 5, it means that you have a sustainable capacity. It means that you don't need to depend on anybody again to do that.
Okay.
So with all of these scores and indicators that Mr. Sia is talking about, that we said we started from 2016 from the JEE. We went to 2019 in a self-assessment, 2021 another self-assessment, and 2023 just recently. So there are scores. So in 2016, some of the indicators we had 1. meaning the country didn't have any capacity or time. But as time went by from 2016 up to this time, some of those indicators that we have we went up to 2, or some of them went up to even 3 or 4, depending on the kind of work and resources we put in that particular areas. There are some technical errors. I mean, we are doing fine according to the reading that Mr. C is giving. There are some we are still fighting, we are still dragging on, and there are some we are there fairly. So all of those things, we are still trying to ensure that we are still trying to ensure that the country goes up, because our target in all of those technical areas, we want to get to 4. But to get to 4 is not an easy thing. Although the highest mark is 5, but we are not thinking about 5 for now. We want to have demonstrated capacity in all of those technical areas. So there are some we have demonstrated capacities in, and we want to maintain that, and if possible go to 5, but we see it as a challenge. But there are some we have 2, meaning our capacity is limited, but we want to move up to 4. There are some who have 3, we have developed capacity, but we want to move up to 4. So all of these things we've done, we've assessed ourselves. We still have some 2s and some 3s, and then when we wait for the joint external evaluation, we'll see the scores they gave us. Based upon those scores, we'll come up with different actions, different plans, to be able to.
Maybe your score set could drop. Maybe.
Perhaps.
Okay, so let's talk more about the technical areas.
Yeah, so of course, I mean, like what you just said, some of those schools actually may drop. Yeah, but some may increase depending on the evidence, because these external evaluators will be looking for the evidence of what we're talking about. So if you will look at port of entry, it's one of the technical area.
Your port of entry.
Port of entry. And what is required for port of entry is that we must have routine capacity established at every port of entry to be able to detect. So if you came to the country, there must be port health officers. There must be animal health workers. If you bring animal in, if humans are coming in, they must be screened. And all of what is required must be in place. So they will go to the port of entry and assess what capacity do we have? What are the guidelines? Who are those folks that are there? And ask them a few questions on against some of the indicators, and then they'll be able to respond.
But we have officers assigned at the port of entry?
Yes, we do have officers at the port of entry. So, by the way, for information sharing, they will be visiting so many places. They will visit our seaport. They will visit our airport. They will go also to cross-border ends. So they're going to go, and they'll go to health facility where we say we're doing surveillance, integrated surveillance work. We're providing services.
So you just posted them there without any equipment? They don't have equipment to work?
No, these are it's routine work.
Okay.
So there are folks already doing health services. There are folks already doing animal health work at the port of entry. There are people already in the area doing their work. So it's that normal work that they want to come and evaluate that you have the system for.
Okay.
What will happen in the routine service provision? There could be a gap. And then we identify the services you provide. Yes, you're doing well, but we see that there's a likelihood of a spill. So you need to tighten this place.
So bring us up to speed, Mr. Blambos. What sort of work are they doing there? The officers, the health officers you assigned at the port of entry, what are they doing?
So, for example, they'll be checking if you have vaccination services. There's vaccination services taking place there.
At the port of entry?
At the port of entry.
Okay.
For port health workers. But also people coming and going out. They will check and get all of your health information. There's also people bringing animals in and out. There's a quarantine officer at each of the port of entry. That's from agriculture, and that quarantine officer will assess and ensure that the animal you bring in, it has certificate and where it's coming from, what condition it's coming with. All of those information are gathered by the folks. But there's also an issue on joint security because we have indicated that talk about health insecurity. The joint security folks, what are the meetings they're having? Are we having a situation of threat? All of those issues, it's government in whole. You know, some of the indicators are linked to whole of government approach.
Okay.
What is it the government is doing to prevent any spillover?
Okay.
You know, those are the kind of things that you be looking.
Let's continue with some of the technical.
So some of the areas we didn't go well how to do with, for example, chemical spillage, chemical events.
Okay.
One of the indicators for chemical events, example, is calling for mechanism established for a functioning and detecting and reporting chemical events. Basically, that indicator we fail.
We got one there or zero?
We got one. One meaning we don't have the capacity. So that was in 2016. Since then, the EPA has tried and provided. Right now, we have guidelines, systems developed. So we have a score of 3 against that. But the external evaluator has to look at our score and determine what that is. But that is what we provided, and we provided justification why we have a score 3. And the same with the logical. We had a score also of 1. And now we've gone to a score of 3. Okay. So the indicators that we're making progress. Some we are still lacking behind, as it were. So yes, there's a lot.
Okay, now your overall score, if I'm not mistaken, was just around 46% when you did the first evaluation. What is expected, Mr. Blamusi and Mr. Sear as well? What is expected? What are you guys expecting when the evaluators come in to again look at all of your technical areas you've performed?
So what we did internally as a country, my colleague talk about it, talk about it. We assess ourselves during the implementation period. 2019, 49%, 2021, 52%. Just ended 2023, we assess ourselves. We did not give ourselves score because the external evaluators are coming. We expect to have a bit, perhaps 50% or more because of the work we've done. Mind you, those indicators are systemic indicators.
Systemic indicator, what do you mean?
Meaning, if you establish a system and you don't sustain, you can go back to 1.
Okay.
So you can say, yes, I have a surveillance system in place. They come and see your guidelines. They come and see all your case definition. And then 2 years down the road, they come back, there's no surveillance officer in the field. What surveillance system you have? Either you can pay them so they know more working. Either you don't give them the gadgets they need. You don't give them the motorcycles to be able to do timely investigation. Of course, that surveillance system is a flaw. So you can have a score of 4 or 5. 5, yeah, you sustain, meaning government has its own resources. But if you have a 4, 3, 4, you must maintain that. If you don't, you can go back to 1. Because the next time they come to evaluate and you are not at that level, they will drag you down, beyond what you have.
Wow.
And the joint evaluation now is using what they call different levels. In 2016, we're using the JE 1.0.
Okay.
Just recently, we did our self-assessment in 2021, 2019, 2021. We used the JE 2.0. Now, the external evaluators have changed the indicator definitions and the indicator themselves. They try to modify that with JE 3.0, and that is what they're going to use on all. They're not using 1.0. The JE 1.0 had a minimum. Each country should have this minimum. But the 3.0 is very tough.
So possibly you could drop down 26 or 36.
Oh yeah, because surely because it's rigid. The 3.0 is very rigid. It's not going to compromise what the 1.0 had. The 3.0 is strict to the point. There's no joke. If you don't have, you don't have. Okay? And when they go to assess and see that, they will tell you exactly what they recommend. And that's why you have the array of things all over the country will be taking place with the external evaluators. Going out with Nimba, Great Cape Mount border points, and Magibi, all of the places will have border points, sea, air, and land.
They will travel there.
Oh, yes, they will.
Okay, Mr. C.
This is what makes this joint external evaluation a critical one. Because, like Mr. C said, in 2016, we did a JE, and we used the WHO 1.0 benchmark 2. In that 1.0 benchmark 2, the indicators there were I think 46. In the 2.02, the indicators rose from 46 to 49 to 49. The 3.0 indicators now we have 56 indicators. So you see, as the year goes by, the tools change, and then the indicators go up. For the 3.0, the indicators have gone up because the technical errors are still the same, 19, but there are some technical errors that were dropped. There were some technical errors that were added, and there were 2 or 3 technical errors that were merged together.
Okay.
So making all of the indicators to go to this number. So it's a stringent tool that we are using. We are going by, and the judgment will be a real tough one. But we pray and hope that maybe because amongst ourselves, when we did our self-assessment, we act as if to say we're not even labyrinths. We look out at those schools, we look at those technical areas in those schools, and we really put ourselves to where we think we are as a country. So that because we try to avoid the situation where you want to carry your school to 4 or 5, and then the external evaluators bring you down from 4 or from 3 to bring you down to 1. So the schools we have now, we are not saying they all will remain the same, but we are setting and hoping that most of the schools we have, the 2s, the 3s we have, they may remain, and then they want the external evaluators want to look at those schools critically and see. But we are hoping that most of these schools will be the same, except for those ones that we have 4, they want to look at it. And so if we come from 4 to 3, that would be good. But our fear is that for you to leave from 4 and you come to 2 or to 1, there where the problem is. So this is why we look at these things among ourselves, and we objectively evaluated ourselves and gave ourselves this course.
So let me just add to what you just said. If you look at the evaluation tools you talk about, the second edition, the indicators against public health emergency have only 2 indicators. So what they were asking for, emergency preparedness, do we have emergency preparedness system in place? And there were only 2 indicators. Right now, the 3.0 is having 6 indicators. There's no but 2. It is very stringent. Once they're evaluating you and you are dragging on only 2, they come in with 6. And those 6 indicators, they just published that.
Wow.
They just published that. And they are holding countries accountable for those. So if you have 2 indicators or you have 1 indicator against a technical area, the situation changed. It's no more. They are beginning much more granular and much more, stringent on your results.
So what is your expectation? Because those people will be coming in, and you were going through the technical areas, some of them, when you spoke about the issue of surveillance. So we were able to provide motorcycles and all of that to our surveillance officers. We have some of them at the port of entry, but the sustainability is the problem that we now have. It's a challenge that we now have. Now, so what is your expectation, especially where you have school 2, school 1 in some of the technical areas you made reference of? What are you expecting now?
Actually, we're going with open mind. It's to accept exactly what will be recommended. We want to strengthen the system, so we should be open. And what that means is to give the external evaluator the chance to ask us those questions, and we'll provide the evidence. And if they feel the evidence are not enough to recommend, and then we disagree to agree and go forward with what we can do to save the lives of our people, our planet, and our animals.
When the first joint external evaluation was held in 2016, your score was then 46%.
So,
what did come to you all who are heading the system? Especially, we should be having a system that has the capacity, the capability to deal with public health issues. You scoring 46%. What did come to you all? How did you all accept the result at the time?
No, I think at that time the result was really, really acceptable, because since the creation, since the establishment of even the World Health Organization, they haven't done any evaluation of such. Mind you, WHO,
and they did one that earned you 46%.
That was the first time, so you have to be acceptable. You have to accept exactly.
But you've miserably failed.
That result was a boost. That result was a boost.
What makes it a boost?
What makes it a boost is that because before the 2016 evaluation, our score was 0%.
Okay.
So we left from 0%, we went way up to 46%.
But you still fall down.
And because of
you
that,
fall in the category of failing marks.
You see it that way, but this is a very big score.
Okay.
Given the very first time we had a JAE, when other countries even had scores far lower than ours. Mind you, that was the baseline. And the baseline we got 46. It was a boost. Based upon, even though we didn't go that high, but it also showed us that while we made achievements in some areas, there were a lot of gaps that
in other areas
were visible in other areas. So based upon that, the recommendation from that JEE tells us, hey, look, you guys, you need to do the NAPS, the National Action Plan for Health Security. So the NAPS was fully crafted in 2017 and came into being in 2018 for 2018 to 2022. So a lot of things have been done at that time. With all of those recommendations that were in the JEE of 2016, we put our activities for them in the NAPS. And so a lot of those other activities were done. So this is why we went in 2019 to do our first midterm assessment. We came from a score of 46. This time we went to 49. Even though not high, but we're moving on.
But that was a self-assessment.
Yeah. Yes.
Be realistic.
Yes.
That'd be realistic.
Yes. That was yeah.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah. Okay. So from the 49%, we had another assessment that carried us to 52%. Again, a self-assessment. The JEE is coming now, my brother. We are hoping that the baseline score of 46, if we should receive our score from the JEE, we shouldn't be coming below 46. So if we come below 46, then it means that we failed. But anything from above 46, it means that there's something happening, even though we still need to make sure. But this 46 is not a failing mark. This 46 is a boost for the country. For the very first time, we had the self-assessment. So we want to see the real scores now when we have the second JE.
Okay. Yeah. So let me add to that. This is not about failing or passing. The assessment is to strengthen your system. Mind you, we are comparing two different things here. The JEE 2016, and we raised the issue with the WHO and folks. The JEE 2016 were using a different evaluation template, different case definition, different, the technical area remained the same, but the indicator were changing. The indicator definition changed. So what we're doing now, we are comparing orange and apples. That's what's happening.
Okay.
What they're using is the 3.0, and the 3.0 definitions are different from the 1.0. Meanwhile, they don't care. They want to make sure your country have a system. And it is the system they're assessing. So it's not about passing or failing. Even if we had 32% against this 3.0, it's good. What it means is to prepare ourselves better where we fail and strengthen those parts of our technical areas.
So I want you to be realistic now. I'll be opening the lines very soon. Mr. C. Blambo said, and Mr. Said as well. From what you've done, from the interventions you've made since 2016, you did the first JEE. Now you're about to do another one. From what you've done, again, let me set the basis. What is it that you expect this time that may come up in the JEE that you're about to conduct in those technical areas? Let's assume in surveillance. What is it that you expect? Is it school 1, school 2, school 3? Let's assume maybe in communication. What is it that you do expect in human resource? What sort of score that you do expect from all the interventions you've made, all the resources that you pumped into the system?
So, in all fairness, we've graded ourselves.
Okay.
In just this going July, we just done a self-assessment in 2023 in July. We refused to publish the score, and we are waiting for the interview.
But why can't you say that you end?
No. We can't say because
in human resources you score 50%.
No, you can say right now because if you want to look at holistically, we should be around out of the 40 or 50% holistically.
After you did the self-assessment.
Self-assessment. Why? Because the indicator's definition changed. The indicator definition changed. It's no more the indicator definition in 2016. The indicator definition changed. What that requires is to strengthen our system more.
To put more money into the system.
It may not be money. It's about structures and
systems.
Yeah,
okay.
that's why it means. But why go with resources as well? It's just establishing the structures and make sure the governance structures are in place. That's what it means. So we
lack those systems in place. We lack them.
In some places, right now we're talking about animal health. Do we have a animal disease surveillance system? We have a system that is not integrated in animal health. In animal health, we've been preaching and we still preaching to our development partners. We should not have fragmented animal health disease surveillance system. You can be talking about fish on the other side, and you're talking about sheep, goat, cow on the other side.
Yeah.
all of what we talk about livestock and all of these poultry, it will be within animal health. We should not segment that.
What's about the laboratory capacity?
So the lab is there. It has a minimum capacity.
A minimum capacity.
Oh, yes.
Can you imagine that?
But yes.
A minimum capacity.
So we should be appreciative of that. The lab is there, have a minimum capacity. We need the workforce, the USAID.
So maybe if the external evaluators come, they'll say, well, you are at school 1 in your lab capacity.
Well, they will go and judge that. But we have some very good capacity right now across human and animal health.
What's about human resource capacity?
Human resource capacity, we may have a school that...
A school of 2 or 1?
A school of 2. Because all of our guidelines, our workforce strategic plan is not there anymore. It expired, and there's a likelihood we'll have a school of 2.
Wow.
So the evidence of that particular school is a technical area, workforce, human resource. But beyond that, the first thing I ask for, what's the strategic plan? What's the training that have been done against this plan? How many persons that the plan say we're going to train animal health you've trained right now? How many persons in human health you're going to train, you train right now? How many persons in environmental health you say you're going to train, you train? So they're going to monitor all of that. They're going to make sure they see the evidence. If you have integrated plan for workforce, they're going to monitor that. And we have a plan that expires, so you can't use that plan. So you don't have a plan. And you have a plan only for animal health that have up to 2029. Have you utilized that plan to the best of our knowledge right now? No, we haven't. So you may have a score of 2 or 3 because you had a plan already. You can't go to 4. No.
Wow.
So we'll drop. So we have to be realistic in what we're talking about. If you develop a strategic document, it's to ensure the implementation of that document. It should be on the shelf. Okay? So that is what's happening. They're going to evaluate.
Who do we blame, man, that you don't have the full capacity? Is it the administration of the Ministry of Health, the minister, the deputies?
This is beyond health.
Okay.
What we're talking about is beyond health. It's human, animal, environment. It cuts across that. So you're talking about Ministry of Agriculture. You're talking about the very NAFA.
So do we blame the leadership of those institutions?
No, they're part of a network. We told you we have a governance structure. They're part of a governance structure. So all of the technicians are part of that governance structure. So we're building a system, a holistic system, and not fragmented system.
Okay.
And then what we do with this is to make sure the universities are also capacitated to train the workforce we're talking about. And not allowing people often to go out of the country, but to do that in country. How long capacity is coming over time, and it will be there, perhaps not our time, but time to come.
Okay, so let me try to open it down quickly. How long does it take when the evaluators come, Mr. C.A. Blamo, to know the grades? Because I really want to see the grades that we scored now. How long does it take when they come in on Monday that program is held? How long does it take to compile what they've seen?
Before I respond to that, how long? Let me just make. Since we are on the national radio now, the joint external evaluation will be held from Monday to Friday, September 4th to 8th. And it will be held at
4 days.
No, 5 days.
Okay, 5 days.
It will be held at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Ministerial Complex. And we expect to see all of the actors in the health, agriculture, all of these sectors to be there. We also want to invite the press to be there as well. So now coming to your question, how long does it take to get the schools? What the methodology is that when we open the session, we'll do official activities, official program where people will make their remarks and so, and then we'll go straight into the technical areas and the technical details. So
the 19 technical areas.
The 19 technical areas. So we call technical area per technical area. What will be done at that point is that, say, legal instruments. We'll call this technical area legal instruments. Our local counterparts who are experts in the technical area will take the platform, and then the experts in the technical area for the external evaluation will also take the platform and facing them. So the local experts will make their presentation for 5 to 7 minutes. And in that case, after that presentation, there will be cross exchanges of you said this, you did this, what are the evidence, and all of those things. When all of those things are done for the next 10 to 15 minutes, the technical experts for the joint external evaluation people will be able to tell you, you say your score is 4, for example, but we think that this score you're giving, you don't have 4. don't you think we can bring it to 3? I mean, it's a consensus building process at that time. So in that case, if we agree, that is the local experts agree that they want to come down from 4 to 3 based upon the request of the Senate, then it becomes very easy to bring that score down. But at times, the local expert may think that the score they have, 4, they think they deserve that score. And so that sort of argument will go on. And if we don't have that time, we'll push them in the second room or waiting room, where they will go and make all of the arguments. If they want to spend the whole day, they will spend the whole day. But at the end of the day, they will come back in the main hall, the main theater, to tell us it, based upon consultation, based upon all of our arguments, we agreed that we have this score. So the same day when you are done with your presentation as a technical error, we'll just take some time to go through that process, and then you get your
the
score.
same day you get a score.
Yes.
I hope to be in attendance, because I would like to watch the argument out of that. Okay, so let me open the lines quickly. 0776-540-987, or better still 0880-514-096. What we're discussing is the assessment of our capacity as a country in responding to public health issues. You saw the COVID, how we did respond. So that's what we're talking about. The people will be coming to Liberia to evaluate, to examine, our systems that we have put in place and some of the work we've done to determine whether we do have the capacity. So if COVID-2 strikes, what I would have the capacity to defeat that COVID-2. 0880-514-096, or better still 0776-540-987. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
This is Eslam Bobo calling you from Lopakande to be district 1 district this morning.
Okay.
So let me appreciate the government. When it comes to grave, when we look at Ebola, when Ebola entered Liberia, we had to take his sickness and talk when you have a local sickness. On this spread, when Masurado destroy a lot of our bad winner. Now, with COVID, the way they're going to fight COVID, somehow we appreciate them so much. But when we're taking the move with Republic of Australia, they ask for the vaccine card, some people have it. Now, they all think I need to recommend to the zero gas, the yellow gender card, with the letter, we don't have it.
Okay.
How can we obtain that? And also, the whole count are dying because of the lack of material we don't have. Make all some of not benefit from it at the end. They say, nothing kill them, no disease. But we appreciate the government. Thank you so much, Sabo.
Many thanks. Many thanks. 0880-514-096. Again, 0880-514-096. Or better still, 0776-540-987. That's the number to call. 0776-540-987. Let me take this number. Good morning. This caller.
morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Sabo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to commend that those people that, evaluation is one of the hardest subjects when it comes to learning. They are doing well. I want to say this thing, God bless them. Thank you.
Okay, many thanks. 0776-540-987, or better still, 0880-514-096. We are talking about an external evaluation that is coming up to look at our health system, our capacity to determine whether we can fight, public health threats, like COVID, Ebola, the people going to come to Liberia to see whether we do have the capacity to fight those diseases, or whether we're done and whether we still need to build our system. 0776-540-987, or better still 0880-514-096. That's the numbers to call, and you are live on the SMS. Okay, Tom has caught up with us. Mr. Blanco said, and Mr. C. I know the JAE is set for Monday, but what's the preparation? Whether we've begun getting information? Okay, let me take this caller quickly. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My name is Paul Momo, and I join you from the community Samanima Village. Thank you. Let me congratulate your studio guests for their great elaboration. I think what it did in the past, they can send the signal to the migrant people as times go by, we can make progress. So thank you for putting this down.
Okay, so I was asking what's the preparation like now? What are all they set for the kick-off of the evaluation meeting, which is scheduled for Monday?
Thank you, Brother George. Yes, we think all is set, and we are starting with the kick-off on today. We'll be hosting a press conference. The Minister of Health will be hosting a press conference and asking all of the press members to come there, and that will be done at the conference room of the National Public Health Institute of Liberia. Also at that conference, making remarks and presentation will be the country director of the World Health Organization, who will be making a big presentation at that press conference, just to declare that next week we will be having a joint external evaluation. The WHO is coming in because the WHO has played a pivotal role in ensuring that we do the joint external evaluation along with that of the World Bank. So we are starting today. On Monday of next week, we will be at the Ellen Johnson Ministerial Complex, ensuring that we kick off the ball rolling with an official program where we have a lot of dignitaries to come and make remarks. The Minister of Health, the Director General of the National Public Health Institute, the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Finance, the Director General of the Forestry Development Authority, and then our partners. And our partners, WHO, US CDC, World Bank, WDC, AFINEL, JPACO, GAZ, and the list goes on. So we said it's a 5 days program. So we'll be in the hall for 4 days. Monday to Wednesday is actually the presentation and the grading of the country's own technical areas. On Thursday is a different thing. We'll be doing a field visit to all of those areas that Mr. Somponsi was talking about, because the JEE team wants to see what exactly has been done in Liberia. We've gone in that place to make fine presentations. Maybe they will go for those presentations, but they want to see what exactly is happening in the field. So we'll be going into the field on Thursday, which is the 7th, and we'll be going to Bold Waterside, we'll be going to the airport, we'll be going to Nimba, we'll be going to the seaport, Freeport, and some other places. We'll go to JFK to see what's happening in JFK and some other places. So that whole day is a field day, will not be at the ministerial complex. And then we'll come back on Friday and we'll do the last day, which is the 8th. There will be a debrief from the external team to tell us, since the bank country, all of the exchanges we've had, what has happened, what they feel, what they think, and what score we actually deserve on the overall. Also attending that program, we have our sub-national people. The county health officers are coming in, the county surveillance officers are coming in, the county agricultural officers are coming in, the county agriculture, the county health surveillance officer will also be coming in. So it's a full house. We expect over 150 to 200 persons in attendance. So that's the activities for next week. But we're kicking off that activity on today. With a press statement to be made by the Minister of Health.
So Mr. Blamose, do you have any signal whether your evaluators in country already, or they're on the way?
No, they begin coming this weekend.
This weekend.
They'll actually be arriving on the 2nd. Between the 2nd and the 3rd, and then we'll be able to see them on the 4th.
How many?
18.
18%. Wow.
Yeah, because we have 19 technical areas, expertise that are coming, and they split themselves into the different areas.
So you heard Mr. Sampon Blamose, Mr. Kise is the coordinator of the Liberia One Blood Health Platform, and also you heard Mr. Yila Watisi. Wow. He's the field epidemiologist and coordinator of National Action Plan for Health Security. Gentlemen, thank you very much for taking time off the busy schedule to appear today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Solo. And let me say thanks to LBS.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, there's just I go home, but before then, let me say hat off to my Indie Cable, illustrious hard-working producer, the man Melvin Stewart. Stewart will be here alone tomorrow, doing the SMS for you. Also behind camera was Demoa. Demoa will be here tomorrow as well, again behind the camera.